don't you make him wear it?
That's a good idea! Oh my god, that's so cute. I love it. Okay. I'll do that. I love it. 10 out of 10 suggestion. Hello, welcome to Tabletops and Bottoms, the show where we talk about all things TTRPG, nerdy, and or gay. This week we are talking about...
Running a successful session 0.
Thank you. Yes. So we're talking running a successful session 0.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those things is doing lines and veils.
Uh-huh.
I know we've touched upon this before, but now we're kind of going into, I guess, a little bit more of a comprehensive, like, running a session 0. I'll start with you. When you were making your list for lines and veils, like, what are some things that you're looking for?
I just copied you.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, but I did delete some stuff from the one that you sent me because I'm like, I don't foresee this coming into that general line of the story. Like, there's some stuff that I don't even want on there, so I just don't even include it at all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. I think, for me, when I did include a lot of the things, they were just lists from that I pulled from. Not necessarily things that I knew were going to happen in game, but, like, just in case. But I also think, tip from you and me is that I think if you're playing with a group of friends and you already know what everybody's boundaries are, I think it's an understood, like, what is a line, what is a veil.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it doesn't hurt to be safe and actually just, like, establish what those boundaries are.
Yeah. And then I like that the way we do it is, like, through a Google form that's anonymous so that we're not calling people out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had that happen before. Not necessarily where, like, somebody, like, put their name on, which that did actually happen once. They put their name, like, in the comments. And I was like, you defeated the entire purpose of this being anonymous, but all right, like,
yeah.
I guess that's what you wanted to do.
Thanks for trusting me.
Right. But, like, I have had to, at one point, like, call out and be like, hey, I'm not okay with this, like, at a table. Because it was a table where we didn't... I want to say we were, like, a baby table because we were, like, fairly new to the idea of lines and veils, or it was something that none of us knew about.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where I discovered, like, safety is really important at a table.
Yeah. I mean, it's also kind of cool, like, if you have lines and veils plus the X card, which is, like, you just have an X on the table, and if something comes up, any player can touch it, and you can just step back away from that. But I don't know, in the new D&D book, no, it's good.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's a good thing.
I was worried, because
they actually put, like, if something is happening... And they don't call it the X card, but they're just like, if you're uncomfortable with anything happening in the game, you can make an X with your hands or just do stop to your DM. Oh. Like, that's actually in the rules now for the new one that just came out.
I think that's fantastic, actually. Mm-hmm. And I'm surprised it wasn't in there a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Because, like, D&D gets really touchy a lot of times. Mm-hmm. And, like, I've read or heard about a lot of, like, problem stories where, like, lines were crossed. And players were like, I didn't even know that was a thing that
like, affected you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I've had to deal with, like, in-game racism. And I'm like, listen, I was like, I didn't even think that was on the table.
Yeah.
Like, I expected to, just be a normal character. Like, I don't want to experience real life things. And then, like...
You don't want the fantasy racism.
Yeah.
No.
I feel like we should be beyond that already.
Yeah.
Like, we're here to, like, it's fantasy.
Yeah.
Racism does not need to exist.
Yeah.
Which also, it's kind of sad that racism in fantasy, Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess fantasy worlds have real world problems sometimes.
Yeah. I mean,
it still sucks.
Yeah. I mean, in our campaign, our real world problems are world ending shit.
Yeah.
I don't think there's ever been a time where we've had to use a safe word. Oh yeah, we should probably
Oh.
cover safe words. That's like a huge part of like establishing lines and veils is establishing a safe word.
Mm-hmm.
Yours is Tamagotchi.
I'm glad you said that because I could not remember it.
It's your own safe word.
I know. I figured I was like, I'm gonna forget it, so I'm gonna put something that's so out of left field that it'll make me stop anyway.
That's you know what? That's actually really fucking valid.
Yeah.
Yeah. We all know mine is cabbages. Oh, also grand update. Marisa finally DM'd.
I did. For 3 times. So far.
So far, it's
So
been really
far.
fun though.
That's good.
We'll get into that into the next. I think the next episode we'll talk about your DMing.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, yeah, your safe word is Tamagotchi.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic safe word, I think, because it is straight up like out of left field, but also very you. Because
Okay.
when I was filling out like your lines and veils, I found the part where you like put your safe word, and I was like Tamagotchi makes sense like for you.
Let me see. I think that's good.
It is good. It is good.
Okay.
Because like also like I think it helps like me remember what it is.
Mm-hmm. Because I didn't remember.
Like you didn't remember, but literally at the time I remember you were playing like with your Tamagotchi, or I think you had like 2 at the time.
Yeah. I should change the battery on those. They
Rip.
died.
Rip.
I want the new one, but I'm like, it's expensive. Why are they expensive?
I don't know why they're expensive. Real quick, lines and veils. Lines are like hard lines that you don't cross, things that will not appear in game. Veils are things that could potentially be in game, but are
They happen off screen.
yes, off screen, or like if they do happen sort of on screen, there's no like graphic detail or anything like that. And then safe words. Safe words are things that will stop the game to prevent any line from being crossed, whether or not it was realized that it is a line. And everybody is allowed to use a safe word, and that includes the GM.
Mm-hmm. I do kind of prefer the like X or the stop, because then I don't have to remember a word.
That's fair. I think I know like in your game and in my game as well, like it's not just a safe word. You can stop the game at any time just by saying X, like dropping a chat or whatever you feel comfortable with.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I feel like if you're not super familiar on how lines and veils work, play Alice is Missing, because that one was a really good sort of introduction for, I think, me. And then maybe our group, I'm not sure who played it first with me. Probably you, actually.
I don't know. I thought we were the second group you played it with.
Yes, you were.
Okay.
But yeah, that was my first introduction to what lines and veils in the X card system was. So I think, if any of you are confused on how that works, play Alice is Missing. I think it's a good way to sort of ease your way into it. That's just my preference. I don't know about anybody else, but if anybody else has a suggestion, feel free to leave a comment about it. Okay, so moving on to expectations. I'm going to say that I define expectations at a table of setting the boundaries of the world, as in like genre, I guess, of what you're going to go into, like what players can expect. I think.
Okay.
So a lot of times for me, I will preface it and say, these are the vibes that I'm going for. Like if you're familiar with Critical Role and their, don't at me at this, I think this might be wrong, but their Calamity series, that one was like a really emotionally heavy campaign that they did. So that's kind of like a good frame of reference for, I think, a lot of you critters out there. Or if you're more into like Fantasy High from Dimension 20 and you say, oh, that's the vibe that I'm going for. So there's the understanding of like, oh, this is going to be more fun and lighthearted and comedic. I know for you said Rapscallions was going to be like a more fun comedic game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of games that I like to run, 99% of the time they end up being comedic because y'all just like to do. I do also throw like the horrors at you.
Yeah.
Like there was a whole Flesh Lighthouse. I and then there were God, what else did I throw at you? I feel like I do a lot of like spooky things.
Yeah.
But generally those are the vibes that I go for in terms of expectations.
It sounds like he's whistling.
You're whistling. I love that I can tell right here that my mic is picking up his sound. So in terms of actual like gameplay for you as a GM, is there anything that like you're expecting to like see in the world, or things that you in general just like want to throw at us in terms of like maybe genre or like tropes or things like that?
I had and what was that?
Sesame just hissed. It's not as bad as when we had Wobble.
Oh. Okay.
This is a significant improvement.
Oh my god. Okay. I think I had an initial idea when I was thinking about it, but then now that we played it, it's kind of gone out the window.
Oh, do tell.
No, I just wanted like each. Initially, I was like, yeah, each island is gonna like have a theme, and I think that's still kind of true, but what we've seen so far hasn't been that. I think they're gonna be more elusive.
Okay.
And I want to do more on the seas stuff, which we haven't really done yet. We've been mostly in islands. But also, I don't want to throw too much combat at you because y'all characters. Like, yeah.
Please explain y'all characters.
Because you're the only fighter.
That's valid.
Yeah.
That's really valid, yeah.
It's like one or all of you are going to get eaten at some point, probably.
I love Penny. We'll get into character creation in a bit.
Yeah.
But I love playing her.
Mm-hmm. And then like Elsa is like breaking the rules with her character like all the time. It's really funny. But also like I don't know how to contain her. Because she's like, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? And sometimes she doesn't ask, she just does something. And I'm like, well, I guess we're going with this now.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so player expectations, have we met those, changed them?
I didn't know what to expect at the beginning, but now, because the first one, I think it went well. The first, I threw that together because I was like, I don't know what the fuck to do. But I think that went well. And I think that also put some of the characters on a path.
I think it really did.
And then the second one, I don't think it went as well because I was trying to do like an on the seas type of thing. And then it just, I don't know, it got out of hand. And then you guys talked like forever. And I was like, yeah.
That is what happens a lot of times.
Yeah. And then the third one, I think I brought it back because I knew based on that first session what you would do. And I was right. Yeah.
See, you're learning.
Mm-hmm. I just don't know where we're going from here.
Okay. Listen, I'm free Mondays.
I know. But the holidays.
Yeah, that's true. We've only got like, I think, one more session.
Yeah.
Until like next year.
Yeah. I think I'm just going to start again in February. Or not February. Oh, in January.
That's fair. Okay.
Yeah.
That does make sense. The holidays do make it rough. Character creation. So
Wait.
it's... Huh?
What about the expectations you have for us?
Listen!
Wait a second.
I think in terms of all y'all and expectations, all of you have definitely like met my expectations or like exceeded them. Honestly, this is a year interview, not year interview. What is it called? The thing where you do at work where it's like you do performance review.
I was like, what are you talking about?
This is your performance review.
Oh God. F's.
No, all of you have done absolutely amazing. I think very much like you, when I started, I didn't have certain expectations set. And I think my expectations were kind of like also based on other tables that I've been a part of where I was both a DM and a player.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think while I didn't have expectations, I think I also learned how to curb certain like I don't want to say troublemaking things that you do, but troublemaking things that y'all do, where like it really like veers everything off course. So I think learning to expect like player chaos is part of those expectations.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like if you know how to roll with it, then I think that's fine. I also,
Okay.
I will say this. I think it's dangerous sometimes to have, I don't want to say high expectations, but I think if you've already got a preconceived idea of what a table or a campaign should look like, then I think that's dangerous because then you don't let other players sort of like explore what they want to explore. Because I think if you're expecting something at a professional level, I say professional level because I'm talking about things like Critical Role or like Dimension 20. Like these are professional actors.
Yeah.
I think if that is the expectation that you're setting for your table, then either your table is doomed to fail or they will rise to your expectations. I think it's going to be more often than not, I've seen the tables fail because not everybody is a professional actor and not everybody wants to be a professional actor. You know what I mean? Like they're at a table to have fun, to just cause some chaos with their friends. And that's about it. I don't want to say curb your expectations, but also like keep your expectations realistic. And I think we talked about this, and I think one of our very first episodes as well of don't let your expectations overtake what a game should be.
Yeah. I also see on Reddit a lot where they're like, oh, there's one recently, and they're like, I was hoping that this player they had like set up a story for like this character specifically where it was a child and then something came, like they made something happen where the child could grow up like all of a sudden, but would also have to like take on the responsibility and of doing something to save something. I don't know. But then the player character was like, I don't want that actually. And then all the future stuff that they had planned basically got dashed into the rocks. But that DM, I think, in that Reddit post was asking for advice to like, okay, now that they're not going forward, like how can I blend this into the story that I was doing? Yeah. And they're like, well, you kind of have to let that player and with their character like navigate it on their own. And they're like, yeah, you're right. So
I think that's a really good example.
Yeah.
Because I think there are times where I've definitely set up expectations for your characters, or I've had plans for where I think that they're going to go, and then they don't do that. And I think that's absolutely fine. Like, I think that's fantastic when you guys do find your own way as characters. I also really love a lot of the times when you just like trust me to take your characters, and I'm like, oh boy. Last thing with this episode is character creation. I know a lot of times players will either make their characters outside of a session 0. I actually like doing them within a session 0 because then, one, it's more collaborative. You get to do it with everybody else and you kind of discover who everybody is together. Yeah, I think I recommend doing character creation as a group because I just think that makes more fun.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to do it with you guys, and I made it happen.
Yeah, you did. That was very fun. You know, to get to sit around together.
But it's also good when you do that, so that way if you guys are making your characters together, then that gives the DM also ideas on how they'll work together. And then you don't have to like push them together in the first session that you're doing if they're all like have different backgrounds and shit. If you make them together, you can be like, you guys are gonna be friends, so make that up right now.
I do love that. I love having established friendships already in games, so you're not meeting each other for the first time.
Yeah, but I think that could be good if you have that in mind. But it's also, I think it's more fun if your characters already know each other.
I think so too. Because I think, like, if you have a shared backstory, then you're able to sort of riff off of that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, one really ingenious thing that I saw from, obviously on TikTok. Why are you surprised? It was a GM who said they do sort of a prologue campaign, and it lasts about like 8 sessions, but everybody in their party, I think, got 2 sessions each. Some were solo, some were like in different groups, but it sort of like wove their stories together. So by the time they started the real campaign, they all had the common goal and they all already knew each other because they had role played with each other already. And so they had sort of like established relationships. And I thought that was super cool.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
How do you know if you've run a successful session 0? I think it's if you and all the other players can walk away with a good understanding of what to look forward to in the game that you're about to play.
Okay. I would agree.
You got this. Like, if you have questions, feel free to leave them in comments. Like, we'll be more than happy to sort of maybe help answer questions that you have based on things that we've experienced. I'm not saying that we're experts, but we do have experience, and maybe you can learn from us, which that would be super cool if you did.
I'm less than an expert. I'm negative.
No, you were learning, and I think that's great because, expert. Listen, as you learn, I think they'll learn along with you, and I think that's super cool.
That's where we're going to end the episode. Thanks so much for joining us. Please remember to like and subscribe and click those buttons. You can always find us here on YouTube or on Spotify. Or if you want to support us in a more personal manner, or if you want to support us in a more personal manner, check out our Ko-fi in the link below.
Yeah.